and gentlemen, I'm Miss Cat, owner of the Weave Buddy. Yes, I have a big granny bun on right now because it is super hot and I'm not going to cut my long hair, so I put it up in a bun. How are you guys doing? Do you remember the other day when I showed you guys how to apply the Quick Buddy? So now I'm going to show you how to remove it. You're going to take some of your favorite little cuticle scissors, not clippers, scissors. And then you're going to go, just like how you go in and remove your closures and your bundles. You just gently go in. How is the lighting? Is it too, can you see well? So I'm going to try to capture, right, let's see. I'm going to get a closer view of this. So we are removing the weft. These scissors feel a little bit like they can be sharpened. Here we go. You know how sometimes it takes a little while to be able to get in there when on the very first one? That's what happened to me here. Now, this was for the quick weave, so I was just showing an example of how to sew. The last time I did the example of the quick weave, basically was telling, I didn't use the glue, but I was telling you guys, use your glue, that's what you do, but then to protect their edges, use the Quick Buddy. And so we were using this Quick Weave Buddy unit. Now I'm just going in to remove the wefts on the unit. I want to be really careful here up in the front, especially. Always be careful when you're removing. But I don't want to ruin the lace closure because we can reuse that lace closure. So I'm just carefully going in. That's all you really do is, when you're removing your lace units and your bundles, when you want to reuse the bundles, you don't want to cut them all up, chop them all up. You just have to be really careful. So I'm getting in there and just little by little removing that thread. As I always tell my students or the customers who purchase my units, when you get to the salon, when you're redoing the hair, don't chit chat until the removal is done, because she can accidentally nick your Weave Buddy or your lace closure. You don't want that. So, save all the gossip for when she's completely done removing. Now, I just nicked a little bit of the lace on the Weave Buddy, but that's okay. It's just the lace. The main thing is to make sure that when your stylist is removing, or when the stylist is removing, that she does not nick the lace on the closure or the little squares from the Weave Buddy. So now we're going to turn this around this way. Continue getting there really carefully. I would rather nick the lace that's on the Weave Buddy than to nick the lace that is on the closure, because that shows through, right? You don't want a holy closure. So these are my favorite kind of scissors to use for removal. So there's no magic trick to it. It's just basically taking your time to get in there and to remove the threads. Just taking your time. Oops, one of the pins from the doll got stuck in here. So I don't want to force this lace closure off yet. I'm just making sure that I get in there little by little. All the stitches, and there we go. So this lace closure, I didn't make holes in it or anything, so that's great. And then we can go ahead and just continue to remove the rest of the wefts. Now, the way I sewed these wefts were a little different because I was showing you an example last month of how if you must do a quick weave, use the Quick Buddy because it will protect their edges. So I was showing them how this whole back, the stylist does their, first obviously you braid their hair, and then you apply the Weave Buddy, you apply the net, and then you apply the Weave Buddy. So that's on. Once that's on, then you're going to be working on with the wefts. So you would, for a quick weave only, so you would, glue down the weft. The remaining wefts on both sides would be out from the point of the Weave Buddy to the edge. So the edges would be sewn down. The rest would be glued, and that's why I have these pins, because I was doing a similitude of, I don't use glue, so I don't have the glue here. So I was just pinning it down as if it were glue. But so that's why you're seeing pins, not because, I cheat. I don't cheat. It's just that when I was doing that example, I was telling them, take your glue it down, and I was ending it with the pin there, showing that's where I glued it down. And then you have this remainder weft that you sew down, okay? So that's what that's about. So we'll go ahead and remove the rest of this. Remember what the pin is for. Don't be thinking Miss Cat cheats. Okay. So this is pretty much a simple standard removal. You just go in carefully, removing layer by layer with your cuticle scissors. And just being really careful to make sure that you don't nick anything, important on the Weave Buddy, which is mainly the plastic squares. Sometimes, you know, when you're removing the closure, you may nick on the part of the lace of the Weave Buddy, but that's okay. You can still reuse it if you nick the lace. That's not a big deal. But when you're nicking the squares here, then you're just making it, you know, not as strong. You could still reuse it really, but you're just weakening the unit. So try to keep the unit from being cut. Ouch, I just poked myself. See, when I added this unit, I took some spring scissors. These are not spring scissors, but I took some spring scissors, put a net, and then made it more of an angle to fit her around her ear. I'll be doing a sample of that again. Okay, so remember this pin is from, because I was showing you guys where it would stop when you glued it down. I didn't glue mines down because I don't use that kind of glue, but I was showing you when I was pinning these, I was just showing you how that's where the glue would go. I think you got that point. So at this point now, we're at the bottom row. I think it's the second to the bottom row here, where I sewed down. The rest was a simulation of pins that were, you know, showing you where you would, you know, usually glue your hair, like you glue your hair down for a quick weave. That's for women who love doing them quick weaves, but there is still a way that you can protect your customers' edges, okay? Which is very important. And then my hopes is that you'll eventually, those of you who try the Quick Weave Buddy, that you'll eventually start liking the Weave Buddy enough to just go on ahead and do a real weave without using glue and everything and protecting the scalp. But if you must quick weave, you got the Quick Buddy. I sewed the bottom row to the elastic that comes with the Quick Buddy. Getting there, it's getting there. There you go. And now we're going to work on this side. This was from a sewing that we did. It was the Quick Weave Sew-In. Do you remember that one? That sample that I showed you guys? I also have a copy of that on my YouTube channel. So if you visit at the Weave Buddy, please subscribe. But you will see in Kat's Favorites, I have some playlists there. You will see the Quick Buddy in action. So see, I just take my time, get in there, and remove little by little. At this point now you have the elastic band that was sewn on to the simulated braids. So I just gotta make sure, and the net, that I don't accidentally cut this elastic, because I want to reuse this unit again. I can't see, guys. There we go. Okay, and see how this has the grip underneath the elastic, so that stays under the nape really nicely. And then the last part is to remove the edges of that quick buddy. Cannot see. There we go. Now this isn't just a quick buddy. I named it that so that people could understand that you could still do a quick weave without, having unprotected edges. So basically you could still protect the edges if you're doing quick weaves. But you can use this little unit even if you're not doing a quick weave, just to, do a light protection of someone with thinning edges. And they come with grip underneath, like a big strip of grip underneath, so it holds on really well. And there you have it, guys. That's how I removed the hair off of the quick weave that I did last time, and the unit. And so now you just clean it up, wash it off, and it's ready to reuse again. Thank you so much.